better goalkeeper, even if you're not out on the training ground flying around like a crazy person. So as we work into this, you'll see our 3 goalkeepers. The one closest to the bottom of your screen, and I did get the okay with her that I could share this medical information. She mid-season had a hand injury to her left hand and was out. So this is about 2 days actually after she was injured. And it's just incorporating her back in. So some of the stuff that our goalkeepers have been emphasizing is just in your frame reacting using the correct surface of your foot, and just kind of how can we utilize a kick save a little bit more efficiently. They tend to just kind of sweep their laces out or they're back on their heels or stuff like that. So this is just different hip mobility stuff. This is one of the first things we did after their warm up. And it's just kind of eye tracking with the ball coming in. How am I reacting to it? Just kind of correct or taking the correct surface on it. So super simple stuff here. Like I said, none of the stuff that I showed today is wildly groundbreaking. It's just how can we get something for all 3 of our goalkeepers, including our injured one, and have them still engaged within the session. Something that I think is incredibly important for young coaches or coaches of all ages is just having full goalkeeper engagement throughout. So yeah, we can kind of go to the next little nook here.
Sure. Is that from?
We're also using mini balls
right
within this as well. So
okay.
And let me kind of preface this. This ball's coming across super slow. So again, the keeper that's acting right now, she is the injured one. So I am an absolute stickler on the efficiency of your movement and kind of dialing back the speed of some of these cutback movements. And so we can really, really focus in on how does that feel? Are my hips low? Especially in female goalkeepers, the efficiency of your hips and the balance of your hips and the impact within how that kind of expands all of your movement and different goalkeeper demands throughout the rest of our demands as a goalkeeper, I think is so important to focus on. So we just kind of pair this all back, and we pair that with visualization as well. So it's like, okay, you see this person, the ball's cut back, everything's super slowed down. Feel yourself breathing, feel yourself actively tracking a ball, and then using your peripheral view to see who is that target that's coming on it. So we just rewind, I always joke with them because we have videos, you can kind of see from this camera here, we have the little Spidio thing. So I'm like, this is like 0.5 on Spidio. You're just really, really refining all of these movements. And it's something where it's still keeping her engaged. She can still actively move her hand out that's injured, that she might feel kind of hesitant to do so. It's a safe environment for her to kind of do that and feel that shape still, despite the fact that she has that injury.
Morgan, can I go back to here real quick? I just want to bring something up here with Stan too, because, you know, I think one of the things I really love about this here is just, you know, and you Morgan, you were bringing this up, you know, Stan, about, you know, versatility and like understanding, like find creative ways to incorporate all your goalkeepers despite the difficulties or the circumstances that you're in right here. And my gosh, this is something we don't work on enough. At least I don't, in regards to the mobility and the striking with the ball with the feet like this in this type of a scenario right here.
Hear me out on this, so don't get like pissed off at me at the first sentence here. I find this hilarious in a good way, meaning everything coach is doing and the players are doing is great. I relate to it. I love it. I agree with it. I would do it. I'm thinking what the midfielders and defenders and forwards are looking at the session and they're going, yeah, those guys are really training. They're absolutely training. And that's where I say it's a sport within a sport. And that's where I didn't want you to think I was trying to rip on this by any means. This is unbelievably valuable. But you think about the rest of the people on the team and they're like, what are those guys doing? You know, really, what are they doing? And yes, it is hip mobility. It's simply understanding what you're going to do in that fraction of a second that you have to decide that what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do. And I have to shape that save so it doesn't go right back to where the shot came from, but it goes somewhere else. And all these things are not just innate. They don't just happen. And so kudos for an exercise like this to be able to, put goalkeepers into that mindset where they understand that, yes, okay, here's the shot moment and here's my shape moment. Fantastic. I think it's great.
I feel like there's so many times they look over and they're like, what? Wait, there's one later in here that I can guarantee you're going to be like, what is going on? And I'm just going to just let me explain what it happens. Yeah. But half the time I feel like they look over and they're like, okay. But this is just a little warm up phase, but I appreciate that. Yeah.
And not to toot our own horn or anything like that, but that's one of the reasons why we created the Union app, is because, you know, on social media out there's a lot of context lost whenever people share pictures, and one of the reasons is because the mediums don't really allow you to give context to it. It's more just, you know, TikTok, you know, you got 10 seconds. Well, you better impress me in 3 seconds here. Well, that doesn't really help from a learning standpoint, you know, or even on an Instagram feed, and the AI looks at it and they go, that's not a top corner save. You know, we're not going to show that to anybody. So,
Right.
you know, I mean, again, I'm not, this is not an infomercial, but I'm just saying, you know, there is a reason why, and guys, go out there and just try to find the right resources, whether it's the Union or wherever, that you can actually get context for these pictures that you're seeing. Morgan, I want to bring up from an injury standpoint, I want to start doing this more, because I can't tell you how many goalkeepers I've seen, including myself, who have gotten a hyperextended knee or a twisted ankle or something like that on a split or a block save, because we don't ever work on it from an actual mechanics standpoint.
Or they're not set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's, so again, kind of, it talked about earlier, like pairing with our athletic trainer and our sports performance. And I talked about how we have green days, yellow days, red days, stuff like that. So our goalkeepers, we have like a Google.
Jimmy, what's up, dude?
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for joining me pre-Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be fun. Saskia should be with us in a couple minutes right over here. So we usually share before the show starts the previous episode, so people can not just listen to me hum and try to set up the stream. It's not as exciting for people to hear that. So we're like, yeah, you know, maybe this will be a little bit better for them. So
I was listening to it. It was interesting. I liked it.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, I mean, we'll talk about this once the show starts and everything like that. But Jake Davis says you're quite the soccer mind. So
try to be.
Oh my gosh, man. It's so funny, man. Cause like when I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, would you be able to come on the show this week? And he's like, no, but I got the perfect guy for you. And he mentioned you right there. He's like, dude, he's like a top soccer mind. I was like, oh, is it like Franz Hook? Who is it? I think he's at the World Cup. And he's like, Jimmy Slayton. I was like, oh man, dude, big shoes to fill.
I hope so. I hope I can live up to the expectations. I sure.
Where are you right now? Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, I got my own place. Part of my contract was I wanted more money in the salary, so I sorted out my own housing and everything. So. Yeah.
Oh, nice, dude.
I'm from
That's
this.
awesome.
It's been nice. It's good to. I'm familiar with it all. So yeah. Given and everything, I'm local and everything.
Just a heads up, you're kind of coming in and out. Do you have AirPods or anything?
Yeah, let me pop these in and see if this works.
Might be a little bit better.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's way better, dude.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, let's do that then.
Let's. Yeah, so you're saying you're from that area. I mean, we'll talk about it once the show starts and everything like that. But like, I was seeing that and I was like, that dude, that's so cool that you get to go back and play pro, like literally like 10 minutes away from like where you grew up. It's insane.
It's been a really cool experience, just like, because even before they redid Dillon Stadium, now Trinity Health Stadium, it's like I drove by that place all the time going into from Wethersfield to Hartford, and it was run down, beat up, and then now they've turned it into a place that sells out every weekend, you know. So it's pretty special. It was a great experience.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome, dude. I love the fact that like the town supporting the team and everything like that. Like just because like it's not the first. I don't think it's the first pro team that's been in Connecticut. I think there was Connecticut Wolves for like a minute.
Yeah, way back.
Yeah.
That was, I don't even know when that was, but I mean, even back in the day, it was the Western Mass Pioneers when they were in the A League or whatever. I think that was the most recent pro team around the area, and that was probably early 2000, like 2003, 2004, 2005 when they were successful in the A League. So it's pretty wild. I'm glad they were able to bring it back. It was something a lot of people were excited for, and they do a really good job selling it to the community as well.
And you guys, you have like a bunch of USL2 teams around you too, right?
Yeah. The Northeast is actually packed with them. We've got AC Connecticut, we've got Western Mass, we've got Seacoast, we've got Black Rock. There's a fair few.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because like I thought, like when I was looking up back in the day, different teams and everything, there was was there a team like called the Ocean City Barons or something like that? Like, does that sound familiar?
There was it's now Ocean City Northeastern.
Okay.
They were like the
Okay.
South Jersey Barons though back in the day. I played 2 summers there.
Okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that the Northeasters were like the same team and everything like that. So
yeah. I think they switched ownership, so they rebranded. But yeah.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense. Oh, look who's joining us. 99 World Cup winner. Look at that. Look at that.
What's up?
How you doing?
What's up? Go Japan. What was that about?
That was madness.
And then poor Costa Rica. I don't even know what to say about that.
Oh man, we might have to talk about a little bit about that stuff when we get the show going. We'll get this going right now. Anyway, here we go.
Sweet.
Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from the Union headquarters on this virtual background with me. Palm Desert, California, actually. I'm in Palm Desert, California.
You're in Palm Desert.
For Thanksgiving with me. You know her as 99 World Cup winner, Saskia Weber, getting ready for her Turkey Day festivities tomorrow. And joining us before he's too stuffed with turkey, we've got Hartford Athletic goalkeeper Jimmy Slayton, who, Jimmy, I've heard you are a goalkeeper mind, according to your former pro goalkeeper coach.
Thank you guys for having me. Hopefully I can live up to those high expectations set. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you guys.
I'm a little scared.
Me too.
Oh, I'm a little nervous. Goalkeeper mind. Okay.
I mean, that's literally what he said. So shout out to Jake Davis, who's now at Houston Dynamo, but he was at Hartford Athletic for a minute. And when I asked Jake if he could come on the show this week, he says he got a lot of stuff going on in Houston, but he's got the perfect goalkeeper mind for us to have. And he sent me Jimmy's information. And I, at first I was like, oh, is he like a coach or something like that? He's like, no, he's a 23-year-old goalkeeper. I'm like, wow. Okay. So this guy's like a savant. What's going on right there.
All right.
Shout out to Jake Davis. Absolutely.
A lot to live up to right now. All right. A lot to live up to.
All right. So Jimmy, break down goalkeeping for us. Just from
the beginning.
From the beginning.
We're not going to say anything. It's on you. For an hour.
Right,
go.
It's an art, and that's it. That's all I've got.
In all honesty, Jimmy, one of the really cool things about this is we were talking about this earlier on the air. For people who are not familiar with Jimmy plays at Hartford Athletic, which is in the USL Championship. And he actually grew up like 10 minutes from the stadium. And how cool an experience is that to be able to come back and play? You literally played at the University of Hartford, and now you're playing at Hartford Athletic, like right down the street.
It's been special. I've always been very close with my family, very tied to the roots here in Connecticut and the Hartford area. And I had a feeling that at some point in my pro career, I'd be back in the area. I've been excited for that point. I really have enjoyed my time here. And it's just been special. Like, who wouldn't want to play in front of their friends, family, and for the community, really? I don't even like to say play in front of, but playing for the people that have brought, I love my circle, and they got me to where I am today. So I love putting on a show for them and hopefully performing to the best of my abilities for them.
You know, it's funny that you said that, because actually the one and only Saskia Weber also got this opportunity in her career to finally go back home and play nearby. Saskia, what was that experience like? I mean, obviously I know I
went to Rutgers because I wanted, the same reason. I went to Rutgers because I wanted to stay near home. I needed to get at least 30 minutes away, so I didn't go to Princeton because I figured, all right, I can't have my parents walking to my dorm. So I went up the street to Rutgers, but it is amazing to keep your friends and family and your community involved throughout your career, and that was one of my big reasons for staying in New Jersey to play.
Yeah, when you said that right there. By the way, Jimmy, I mean the Hartford thing, like, was that one of the reasons why you chose Hartford, or did you just feel like that was the best situation for you right now as a burgeoning pro?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of factors that went into it. Honestly, coming off an injury my second year in Salt Lake, the market for a guy coming off a torn hamstring wasn't too hot. So it was kind of an interesting journey. It was the first time I'd been a free agent as a pro, and just able to sign anywhere. But the draw of Hartford was certainly always there. My connection was always there, and I was looking at the club. It was one of the clubs I had on my list of places I wanted to be. And it ended up working out perfectly.
It's awesome.
See, now Stan Anderson just put a comment in the comment section right here, and,
Hi,
and we have a little bit of a connection to this person right here as well too. So he goes, Jimmy, you have a true legend in Dan Gaspar working with you at the moment. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dan was able to take over after Jake came in. He volunteered his time for a while before inking a contract with the club. But no, Dan has been a great supporter of my career, my time as a goalkeeper, really from early on. Probably once I started to get on University of Hartford's radar, that's when Dan started coming into the picture, and he supported me. He's been a great mentor, great person to learn from, both on and off the field. He's been great for me. So I thoroughly enjoyed having him around.
Hi, Dan. It's all the East Coast, Mike. It's Dan was I trained with Dan as well. I'm sorry if that ages you, Dan. because people can Google and find out how old I am. But trained with Dan as well. Don't let him talk you into like taking those photos for power diving for his camps. Like, don't let him do it. I'm recovering from that for the rest of my life.
No, Dan was. I helped him out.
That's like infamous, and like those photos of you flying over 5 people that are bent over. That parallel perfect photo.
Yeah. You loved it. No, working at SPA, it was great, and I communicated very clearly to Dan what I was there to do, which was coach and not demonstrate anything. That was my offside. I wasn't going to hop in and demo anything. I was there to coach.
Exactly. Let the kids believe you can do it.
Yes. I don't need.
See, you are a savant. You're only 23 and you already know this. It took me until my 30s to know that. And finally, I was playing pro for New York. I had a 22-year-old goalkeeper. She's trying to show her stuff, and she's like, let's do power diving. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, I'm going in to see the trainer, and practice is over, but have at it. Go ahead and go do power diving.
Ice bath for the next 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, Jimmy, I want to talk to you about that actually, because, when you're talking about being a goalkeeper mind, I didn't say you said that. Jake Davis said that about you as a goalkeeper mind. But, obviously you're the type of person that is trying to work on just not yourself just as a goalkeeper, but understanding the position in general. And obviously, working camps and, doing privates and group sessions and all that sort of stuff in the off season. How much does that benefit you as a player too?
Yeah, I think it's very beneficial. Being involved with the game, and especially at both the playing and coaching level, it forces you to not only take all this information in as a coach, but then view other people doing it. Obviously, in training, if I'm told to do something, I look at it and I try and take it in and I try and perform it. And yeah, we can watch film back and all that. But when you actually can see the adjustments a goalkeeper has to make that you're working with, that you're looking to make within yourself, it's a pretty interesting process on how to build those good habits and develop those different techniques. It's been very beneficial for me in terms of, again, learning how to communicate with different people, motivate certain people to do certain things. So it's been a very well-rounded approach, and certainly a lot of parallels between coaching and playing. And I love running my privates. I love working with small groups of goalkeepers, because there's such a beneficial side to it, both in terms of just being fulfilling, working with kids and sharing my knowledge and experience, but also understanding how I can improve and seeing sometimes kids have the best answers. They may say, well, this feels better, or they may innocently suggest something and it might be right. It might be something to pursue or dive deeper into. So I think there's tons of benefits in areas where you can translate it from one area to the other.
You know, dude, I love what you just said right there. I mean, you know, Saskia, you know, we've talked about this on the show, you know, that young goalkeepers, you know, and I'm throwing you in the young goalkeeper category, despite the fact that all of you guys. I was talking to Jimmy, but no, you know, I'm throwing you in there because obviously, you know, you're still, you know, playing and everything like that. But that young goalkeepers, you know, who pursue, you know, coaching while they're still playing and everything like that, they develop a lot of these leadership qualities that you might not necessarily get if you're just in an environment where you're taking in information.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, anytime you're put into a teaching role, you're learning how to communicate with people and different people that react differently and to different types of communication, different types of motivation and everything. I think like a good example, I think, okay, let's take like the spin move, like whether you get up with a kick or you get up with a spin move. I think like for me, having to teach both when I was always taught, you know, you just like, you know, the kicking up into a set position and everything back in the day, but now there are other options, and to actually have to teach both and actually have to see when to utilize one or the other, or what goalkeeper benefits from it and what goalkeeper doesn't, teaches you as well. And you as a goalkeeper, if I was still playing, I'd be like, maybe I need to kind of incorporate this into my game too, you know? And I think that those are things you can take from at your age, teaching, because you're teaching yourself at the same time.
Right. By the way, Jimmy, I thought you were walking off for a second. I thought you were just taking off right
He's
there.
Like, whatever, Saskia, shut up. It's like, I'm not listening to this.
just adjusting.
Oh, God.
No, I'm complete. I love what you said as well. I think it's huge. I'm not
telling you to do it, but I'm just saying I understand what you're saying by you learn from kids as much as they learn from you. Period.
Yeah. And Jimmy, I love one thing that you said about that in regards to like the innocence of kids, because I think sometimes we're so involved in goalkeeping that we're seeing things in a specific way, but kids are not, because they're exploring and they're learning and they're figuring things out. So they might think of something outside of the box, and you're like, wow, that was actually really efficient.
Right.
I never thought of it that way. Maybe there's something to that.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes that happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on the
age. Think
it's
especially when it is the older kids, like being a younger goalkeeper. My first year with I don't know if you've spoken with Mirza Harambasic over with the Monarchs in Salt Lake. Me and him go way back, and we've had a really good personal relationship, professional relationship, and in sessions it'd be like he'd present something and I'd be like, hey, like, what about this? And he was always so open to it. He was always so like, oh, okay, like, let's talk about it. Sit down in the office, break it down. And that communication, I think the connection with the goalkeeper coach is so important. Someone that's willing to listen and hear out. Okay, well, I hear what you're saying. It maybe doesn't work for me. So what's an alternative? Or this might be my idea of an alternative. And then that open communication helps so much. I mean, that's changed my path in development and all that. And Jake was the same way. I think it's really, really huge to have that connection, and whether it be a smaller age gap or whatever it is, I think the willingness to grow and learn from both the coach and the player creates this environment where there's so much ability to be dynamic and have this really unique approach.
Dude, you just made my head explode right there, Jimmy, because I never thought about
it's not that hard.
It happens very often. It happens very often. Look, I just drove 3.5 hours to Palm Desert
whatever.
Thanksgiving.
Just stop it.
You have any idea what the traffic was like? It's the worst day to travel.
Nobody told you to leave when you did. Just stop.
I did do my show. I had my comedy show last night. I couldn't leave on Tuesday. But I never thought about the fact that coaching can actually adjust how you behave with your goalkeeper coach, because you've been on the other side. And because you've been on the other side now, you can understand how to convey information and maybe a way, the timing, when's the right time, because you've been on the other side, if that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah.
Rhetorical.
Was that rhetorical? I didn't think
rhetorical,
so. I thought there was.
It was. Yeah.
Was it? Gosh darn it.
It's okay. No, but I think it does. It teaches you communication, which is what we went back to saying from the beginning, and how to communicate and express what you're trying to get across, because you're teaching. And so that translates into when you have to express something to your coach, you're going to be better for it and better at it. And obviously having a coach that will sit down with you and say, okay, if you have the ability and that open line of communication to sit down and say, this isn't working for me. Like, what are the other options? Like, what about this? And what about that? And you're not with a coach that says, no, my way or the highway. No, you have to do it this way, because as we said 1,000 times, goalkeeping's a gray area.
Right.
Jimmy, I want to ask you that question right now, because this just came to my head right now. And obviously we have a lot of pros on the show, and we have pro goalkeeper coaches a lot on the show as well too. And you're still relatively young in your professional career, but you went through college the entire way through. I know a lot of people nowadays take an MLS, development route, but you went all the way through college. Do you feel that your relationship now with a goalkeeper coach is different than it was when you were playing in college?
You know what? It's an interesting question for me, because my first 2.5 years were with Mirza. So I was fortunate enough to work with him from an early age, and I certainly saw our relationship change between college and pro, because he also went from college to pro, and his development and mindset and the way he presented things certainly changed. After Mirza left, we didn't really have a consistent goalkeeper coach. We had a Hartford athletic guy come in and help Jacob Lissick, and we had Paul Armstrong, who's with Keeper Stop. He would help out here and there, but it was more of a, how can I serve you, Jimmy? What do you want to see? And I don't think that was necessarily good for my development. And that wasn't a issue with their coaching style. It was more of the role that they were brought into. They were going to be part-time. It was to keep me sharp. It wasn't necessarily to develop me, because they didn't have the time or role to do that. With Mirza, I saw him flourish and grow from, I think he was 25 when he started with us at Hartford. And you saw him build his confidence. You saw him build how dynamic his sessions could be and how involved they could be with distribution, every level of goalkeeping. And kind of develop, like, okay, we're going to watch film, we're going to prepare this way, we're going to incorporate plyometrics, we're going to incorporate all this and that. So I think the relationship I don't think there's necessarily a difference in what level you're at. I think it's a difference in just the relationship with the coach itself.
Yeah, I think it's really important what you said, because I think you get a lot of goalkeeper coaches that would come into a pro situation, and it's a good point. Like, what is the role that you were brought in to do? Are you here, if you're part-time, what are you here just to keep you sharp, which means set up some drills, knock some balls, do some footwork and stuff? Or are you an advanced enough goalkeeper coach that you can still develop your goalkeepers while you're keeping them sharp? And there is a fundamental difference there, and to see your goalkeeper coach like kind of for himself transition into that role as well. Like, yeah, we all grow. There was a time that I was a young goalkeeper coach, and I was like, okay, I'll set up some drills and hit some balls, to the point that now it's like, okay, I need to break down what you're doing wrong and work that into this drill, and really work on both at the same time.
Wait, Suska, I've known you for a long time. There is no way that you are ever like, I'll just set up some drills and hit some balls.
Okay.
The opinionated human being you are, there is no way that you are just willing to go
okay, it's a good point. But I would say that I've gotten better at developing, more intense, if that's scary enough, at developing and keeping somebody sharp at the same time. But you're right, it's true. That's true.
but I think you both have brought up a good point in regards to like place and time, in regards to like when you bring up information. And obviously, Jimmy, there's different resources at different schools and different pro teams, and depending on the level that you're at and everything. But I think a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy, a lot of times it comes from the top. It's like, the manager, will be like, this is what I want the goalkeeper coach to do, as opposed to like just free reign to do whatever you want. But if the head coach is like, I want you to work on blah, 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 blah. That's why I hired you. I didn't hire you to do blah, blah, blah.
Right. Yeah. it's always interesting to see that. And just kind of as a segue from that, Tab Ramos, who came in late in the season, he was very candid in our meetings. He's like, I don't know goalkeeping. I know a little bit here and there, but I'm going to let you guys do your goalkeeper stuff, and I'm going to stay out of it. This is what I want from you. This is my expectation. This is what I like in the role. But you guys train how you got to train. And I thought that was really big of him to just like, it wasn't like an ego thing. It wasn't, I'm the manager, I'm going to do it this way. But he was like, look, that's not my area of expertise. I'm a field player. That's my background. And that's what I'm really good at. I'm going to stick to that. And I'm going to tell you, you need to do this and you need to perform that well. But whatever you have to do to get there is what you can do. Let the goalkeeper coach manage it.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the Japan game today. And just listening, Lexi, love you. We went to college together and everything, but nobody on that panel, nobody at halftime knew what they were talking about when it came to goalkeeper, other than Lexi saying, other than Lexi saying, oh, he got his big paw there, and I love you, Lexi. But Mike, if you know me, and if anybody knows me, I'm over here going, hold the ball, or at least carry it outside of the 6, like stop knocking the ball down, to Germany. Or I mean, not to Germany, but to Germany. Stop, just stop. And I was like, but like just to hear Lexi here, I love Kelly Smith. I played against her, and and Carly and everything. But I was just like, please, somebody just say something that like catch the ball, Japan. Like please, your positioning's off. Like nobody says anything, and it drove me crazy. So I was thinking about you saying that with Tab. At least he could admit, like, I don't know anything about goalkeeping, but I would have loved Lexi to say, I don't know anything about goalkeeping, but I think maybe you should have held on to the ball right here.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You could have heard me screaming from the desert saying,
I love it.
I will say this though. So when I did talk to Lex about potentially coming onto the show, he says, you want me to speak about the necessary evil. So
I love Lexi and he's so opinion, but I had to throw him under the bus on that. The Paul comment, I'm like, okay, I use that term too, but just add a little something in there, somebody.
Give a little bit more detail on it. Explain it a little bit. Right?
Just a little bit.
Okay. All right. Jimmy, you're a GK mind. Before we move on to the topic here, and the topic is going to be about earning a contract. Since you are a goalkeeper mind, what have you thought of the goalkeeping so far in the World Cup? We're 4 days in now.
I think there's been a lot of good moments and a lot of bad moments. I think just watching the U.S. game, especially, really focused on Matt Turner's play. Being a guy that went to school in Connecticut, I wanted to go to Fairfield at one point, and he was there. But such an unbelievable shot stopper, comfortable with his feet. And I think an area of the game where every goalkeeper struggles, or maybe not struggles, but not many guys will say, this is my bread and butter. Crosses, dealing with services into the box. It's such a challenging aspect, especially with all the differences in where it's being served from, all these cutback spaces, all these more narrow angles where we don't have time to process the information. I think that's such a problematic area in goalkeeping, and obviously you could only do so much to train it because there's such little time. So it's just a matter of repetition. But I think there's been a lot of good moments. I'm sure Kaylor Navas isn't happy with 7. But no, I think
that was rough. That was rough this morning. That was rough this morning.
It was rough. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see who starts to step up in big moments. Ochoa's going to be sick every World Cup. He'll just show up, disappear for 4 years. Playing,
if I was Ochoa, I wouldn't even play on a pro team. I wouldn't even play on a club team. I would just say, I am the national team goalkeeper. Give me a yearly salary to play for Mexico, and that's what I do. I play in big tournaments. That's all I do.
No friendlies.
No friendlies. Yeah. Just
the near post by Japan. Oh.
Yeah. Did you see Courtois this morning, Susk? Any chance? Yeah. You did? Okay.
Half awake, and yes, we'll see how the goalkeeping develops. I agree with you 100% on the cross. I agree with you 100% on the crosses, and I think that we've seen it be a struggle. And we'll go back to youth, and obviously these guys are the best in the world and everything. So train it. But if we talk about youth goalkeeping and stuff, nobody ever trains it. Because why? Because youth players can't hit a cross. And so they can't hit a cross. Like, you can't get a normal session in with crosses. Like the kind of services like driven balls, that's what it is now. It's not the lofted ball that, the jugs machine would do or something like that. Like, or it's literally just different types of balls into different spaces, and young kids can't hit those balls. And so coaches don't train it. And so then to all of a sudden get into the college system or get into the pro academies, and here come crosses and stuff, where I think goalkeepers are behind the mark on it.
Yeah.
I want to add on to that, Saskia, I think you brought up a good point in that. And I saw Jimmy's face kind of go like, kids can't hit crosses. And Jimmy's like, oh yeah, I can't. Those times I've put a session together and I'm like, this looks awesome on paper. I saw Manchester City do this weekend, and I think it's going to look awesome. So
let's go back to hand service, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Back to hand service.
Just toss it or get the jugs machine out. It's just a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I've done it. I've put a session together for what was supposed to be like college ID camps, and I had to tank it because nobody could hit a cross. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do.
Sad reality behind it.
Yeah.
But I think that is, one of the things there that comes into play, and, putting your coaching hat on here right here, Jimmy, is that I think a lot of times as goalkeeper coaches, I don't think that field coaches understand the fact that they'll be like, make these realistic sessions. Yeah, but you can't have any players. Like, we're just going to just use the goalkeepers for this. I'm like, as much as I'm sure they're working on their skills, serving a ball and everything like that, they don't hit the ball the same. They just don't. They don't hit the ball the same.
No, because they're
taught the time. It's no pressure. It's
totally different.
If you could ask Jake, you could ask him how I feel about all that stuff, but how my body language might change a little bit. But I certainly can't say I'm a fan. Maybe I get a little bit frustrated when that happens. Oh yeah, no. We'll do corners, just attacking set pieces without defenders in the picture. Jimmy, just come out for what you want. It's like, okay. Sure.
Yeah, and then you just develop it, and then Ben, especially you're a pro. There's one thing because you understand, process of I'll come out for a few, the ones that are realistic for me to come out for. I'll drop back online for the ones that I would never come out for in a realistic scenario.
You're training yourself.
Yeah, right. Young kids don't understand that. They try to go for every ball.
Yeah. It just develops those bad habits, and then you come to the goalkeeper session.
Exactly.
Like, oh, where'd this come from? Oh, we've got a whole bad habit to break down and build back up.
Exactly.
Speaking of bad habits, one thing you don't want to do is develop bad habits in college, because that's not the way that you earn a professional contract. You see that segue into today's topic right here, guys?
Brilliant. Good job. Good job, Mike.
I do what I can, and I'm very impressed with myself. Today's topic, guys, is earning a contract. One of the reasons we wanted to have Jimmy on to talk about this topic is because you were in a situation, obviously, where you were at Monarchs. You've had some health issues, post college, and you had to fight your way back to earning a contract. And I spoke to somebody anonymously, and they said that you said you were humble, and you're like, I'll come in there. But I'm going to prove to you that I deserve a contract and that I'm the number one. Jimmy, for maybe some of the parents out there that don't know what we mean by earning a contract, what do we mean by earning a contract?
Yeah, I mean, every level you go, there's nothing given to you anymore. As you get older, contracts aren't handed out because talent can be off the charts. But if you don't have those, people start to look at more than talent. They start to look at, okay, how is their professionalism? How do they treat teammates? How do they treat coaches? Are they coachable? What can they do to keep developing and be better? Because talent it's just not enough anymore once you get to the college and professional level. You need to have the talented mindset. You need to be able to work on your craft. And some people might be given a chance. You get about one of those if you are the 1% of the 1%. Mm-hmm. But in my experience, it was, okay, well, who do I have to talk to? How many gym sessions do I have to do? How many extra training sessions do I have to do? How many combines do I have to fly to? How many trials do I have to go through? And when it comes down to it, performance is king. If you can't perform, if you can't show well when it matters, you don't earn anything. You earn a trip back home. So contracts only come if you really put in the work and perform, and like you said, earn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that you said that, because what the difference between you and another keeper is not that great. And so what's going to set you aside? And so is it your work ethic? Is it how you get along with your teammates? Is it how you travel? Is it if you're playing in another country that you can like assimilate to it and you're fine with the food and you don't bitch and like stuff? No, those are important things, because you'll get a ticket home, because you're not, unless you're super special, which is rare. And not saying you're not super special. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the difference between you and another keeper, those are the things that can set you aside, and and make an organization want to keep you.
Yeah. I want to use an example right now who's been on the show before, and obviously, now he's at Arsenal, now he's starting in the World Cup. I mean, you can't really get to a higher level than that right there. But Matt Turner, who was at Fairfield, and he had to earn his position at Fairfield, and then he had to earn his position as a pro too, because, when he came in, he was not a sought after. I think he was just a training camp invite, but like you were saying, Jimmy, if you come in there and you have a certain mindset, you're going to earn what you deserve, basically, essentially.
Yeah. Well, they won't be able to deny that. They won't be able to use anything as an excuse. You can't give somebody an excuse to send you home. Like, we can look at Casey Murphy, and Casey was the same mentality. Saskia, what do I have to do? Extra training sessions, extra coaches. What do I have to do to set myself apart? She went to France. She came back. Now she's with the national team and starting for Carolina. But she set herself above and beyond, and don't give them an excuse. Hey, you know what? You're not putting in the extra effort. You're not trying to better yourself. You're just showing up for practice and clocking in and clocking out. Well, that's not enough. It's not.
No, that's a good point right there. I mean, Jimmy, you were talking about, obviously, doing in the extra gym sessions and all that sort of thing. And obviously you had the experience where you were fortunate, where a goalkeeper coach that you were familiar with found an opportunity for you as well, too, at the professional level. But at what point in your collegiate career did you say, you know what, I really do want to take a stab at this? I know it's not going to be easy. And what did you kind of put into play prior to this? Because I think a lot of young players, Saskia, they just go like, oh, my senior year just wrapped up. Now what do I do? Oh, I want to be a pro. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I always wanted to be a pro. I wanted to be a pro athlete through and through since I was tiny. I wanted to play for the Red Sox first. Wanted to be a baseball player.
You're only 23.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. You got time.
But as I realized soccer was my passion and my best sport, I was like, I'm gonna be a pro. I'm gonna be D1. I'm gonna be a pro. I'm gonna keep going. Now that's a very different mindset than I'm going to be a pro and I'm going to do everything I can to earn it. Because my freshman year, going into the spring season and a college season is not fun. It sucks. It's brutal. It's terrible. It's every bad thing possible because you don't get to play all the time. You don't get to play. You're in the weight room. You're just getting killed. And I didn't do well with that. That was my first time really having to dig to a whole nother level. And it taught me a lot. I grew a ton. You could ask Mirza. He was there. He saw me. We had conversations in the office like, hey, you got to dig deeper. You can't do that if you want to be like our guy. And the expectation was set very high by me, by them. And if I fell below it, they'd tell me. And I wanted to hear that because it pushed me further. It didn't hurt me. And kind of as I went along, sophomore year, got a little bit better with it. Junior year, after my sophomore season, I had a shoulder surgery and I was like, oh, well, I've got to catch up. I've got to do more to catch up. And then junior spring, I was like, I've got one more go at this. I am going to be in the gym. I'm going to be stronger than ever. I'm going to be faster than ever, more athletic than ever. And you just kind of realize that you're running out of room. You're running out of time. And you don't get to, if you only have 7 days a week, you're not going to get 45 sessions anymore. You might get 7. You might get 5. So I got to the point where I just realized that I needed to do more with the time that I did have because I couldn't make more time. So you really just have to value what you have and listen to your body. You don't want to overtrain to the point where you don't have a body to give anymore. But you certainly want to put yourself in a position where you grind. And I think I sophomore, junior year is when I really realized what it took, what I was going to have to do, and how I can get there. That was when it really kind of took over.
It's amazing when that switch flips. And as a coach, even to watch it happen to players, because we can't make it happen. And you know that now, coaching as well, as much as you want to, but that is an internal switch that has to flip, that a player gets it. And we can set up the training sessions, we can do everything and try to motivate, but unless you flip that switch, I think of Lauren Brisky at UCLA, and her, after my first year with her, she went home for summer, and I'm not, obviously not allowed to train. We're not allowed to train them, and it switched on her, and she came back fit as can be, and so much quicker. And she did it, and she realized that when she's away from the team, what it takes, that time. What do I want to do here? And she made that switch, and watching that happen, and now seeing the goalkeeper that she's becoming, and I know she'll go in the draft and go pro, and she'll have multiple options, and hopefully win a national championship in the next 2 weeks. But watching that switch, it's awesome. That's up to you players out there, though.
No, and I love the fact that you brought that up, Saskia, because I think a lot of parents, especially at the youth level, especially at the youth level.
How can I get my kid to be more motivated? How can I get my kid to want to do this? Kids got to want to do it.
I go, here's Dan Abraham's cell phone number. Contact him, because I'm not going to be able to solve this problem. How about that? No, but in reality, Jimmy, obviously, you work with youth players now. I mean, the parents who come up to you and go, what can I do to help my, son or daughter, get to the next level? And it's a tough conversation, because there's only so much you can do other than give information and try to give them and try to put them on the right path. But it's up to the player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations with that. Part of my movement back to the East Coast from the West, from Utah, I wanted to retain a lot of the people I worked with. I wanted to keep working with them in some way. So I've done film analysis, and I've done mentor sessions. So talking about the mentality towards it, and whether it be with the parent, whether it be with both the parent and the kid, whatever it is. But I constantly, my conversations with parents are, you need to be supportive of what they need, because you probably can't make them do something. And if you do, they might burn out. You don't want to coddle them and just make it easy on them, but you need to do whatever you can to support them in the best way you know how, because parents aren't going to have all the answers. I'm not going to have all the answers. The kid's not going to have all the answers. But if you provide an environment where they can ask questions, they can thrive, they can tell you when and when not to push the gas pedal. And there's times where a parent might say, well, you have to push a little bit more. Finding that balance has been the most successful thing that I've seen with parents and kids and their relationship in terms of training and developing.
Yeah, and parents out there, soccer training is not always the answer. It's not more goal. It's not necessarily more goalkeeping.
No.
Just like it's not necessarily more running or more, like it's finding where the deficiencies are and utilizing all different aspects, whether it's in the weight room. We were just talking last podcast about, I was with the track coach to work on my explosiveness at Rutgers, and like, who would have thought of that? You know what I mean? Like that's what I used to do. I used to train with the basketball team to do footwork and handling. Like there are a lot of different ways to. And it was fun. Like, it was different. I didn't want to just be in the goal all the time. I want to do something different that still worked on those skills. So, there are different ways to answer the questions.
But I think one thing too is that, this is something to be said to every college recruiting program out there. Which,
by the way, I suck at basketball. I just wanted you guys.
I want to, regardless of what my feelings are on most of the college recruiting programs out there, but I want anybody out there who's trying to help a player get to the collegiate level or the professional level to please stop when people ask you, can, oh, I'm going to make you a pro. I'm going to make you a college, because you can't. You cannot control that. That is an uncontrollable. All you can do is put the wheels in motion, and it's up to the person to put themselves in that type of situation, that if there's an opportunity for them to play at that level, they get that opportunity. But you can't say without a shadow of a doubt that you can do that. And I'm just even stricken, like there's I was just watching a documentary recently on, and Jimmy, this is before your time, so I don't know if you've heard of him. There was a guy named Shea Cotton who was considered LeBron James before there was a LeBron James. Like at like 11 years old, they anointed this guy as like the next Michael Jordan, basically. This was in the 90s, and he never played in the NBA. He never played in the NBA. And you see what his parents were having him do at 10 or 11 years old. He basically lost his childhood because they were convinced they were going to make a NBA player. And they can't control that. So make sure that there's balance, guys, for any parents out there listening, so that these kids still enjoy, and they enjoy the experience too, because Jimmy, as you can say now, it's a job now for you. It's a job. It's a fun job, but it's a job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You've got to enjoy what you're doing, and you've got to enjoy the process. You have to learn to love the process, because if you don't love the process, you're not going to get. I didn't love the process my freshman year of college, and that's why I struggled. Then I learned, oh man, I love being in the gym, because this is going to let me do what I want to do.
Right.
And you have to learn to appreciate it and grow with it. There's going to be a lot of bad moments too, but there's going to be, that's what you have to do to get those bright times.
All right, so Jimmy, right before we I want to share your demo reel because I think this will be a lot. I think this will be a lot of fun for people to check out. To say like, all right, well, he's talking a good game, but let's see some of his actions. Let's see what it takes.
Thank God, social media and stuff didn't exist when I was. Again, it's just the lure. It's like I can do all of it. Just kids and everybody believe it. I never have to demo or anything.
Just tell them.
And the VCRs are non-existent, and the VHS tapes are God knows where.
This is but Jimmy, this is the great thing about living in your hometown, playing in your hometown, is that when the kids that you're working with, when they say, oh well, you show me how to do it. It's like, okay, well, 10 minutes down the street, you can go to the stadium and see me on Friday night.
Yeah, come on, I'll give you a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Sit behind the goal.
Yeah.
I want to ask you really quickly, because you were deciding that you did want to go the professional route and everything. Like, kind of what are the things that a player who is in that position where like professional might be a possibility should get in motion while they're still in their senior season?
It's never too early to prepare. It's never too early to start having those conversations and asking the questions. In terms of, you have to stay eligible. You can't be talking to the wrong people that are going to jeopardize your senior season. But have conversations with people that maybe you talk to somebody that knows an agent, or you're not signing anything, but you start to just ask questions, learn the process, understand what you're going to get into. College coaches, if they don't know the answer, they will get the answer for you. If you treat them with respect, if you have a good relationship, they want to see you go pro, because one, it's good for you, it's good for them, it's good for the program, it's good for everybody. But you just have to ask questions and learn. A couple of my friends that I played with in college want to go pro, and they ask me questions. They ask what the process was like, and I was like, look, I just talked to everybody I could. Anytime I could go, anytime I can afford to go out and fly to a combine or something like that, I would play for as many people as I could, just to show, hey, take a chance on me, give me an opportunity, and with those opportunities, I'll turn it into what I turn it into. But you're not gonna look at me and be like, oh man, this guy just wasted it because he didn't work hard. Maybe if I wasn't up to the level they wanted, okay, but I was gonna go in and do everything I could to show them that I could bring something to the table.
Yeah, don't sit back and expect the front doorbell to ring.
Yeah, GMs aren't calling you.
It doesn't happen. Doesn't happen if you want to be an actor, a singer, or anything. It doesn't happen. You have to put yourself out there and do the legwork, and show people. Squeaky wheel gets the oil, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think it was like at the mid-season point. Mirza was out with the academy, with the Monarchs or RSL, and he was just checking in on me, and he's like, look, you're turning in a pretty good season. Like, keep it up, and we can have a conversation down the road. I might have an opportunity coming up. that was a conversation that happened. I wasn't expecting it to turn into anything. And it's like, those are going to happen and you have to keep going. I couldn't be like, oh, sick. All right, I'm done. Half season. I had the conversation. I'm ready. I basically signed. No, I was like, oh, well, even that's coming from one of my good friends who may or may not be coming in the industry. And he said, I have to keep performing. Bless you.
Thank you.
So it's like, there's never a point where you can turn it off, even with people that you know forever.
I love what you just said right there, Jimmy, because I can't tell you how many goalkeepers I've seen, whether they're juniors or seniors, they start getting on these draft boards or, on these on these articles and the rankings and all that sort of stuff. And they think like, well, I'm good. Because I'm on the Herman, I'm on the watch list and blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So they think that they've done all the work that they need to do. And then they, if they're fortunate enough to get invited to the combine, they're not ready for it because they thought it was kind of already in the bag.
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is Johnny Football, exact example of what we're talking about. Think that you can just go, I've done it. I'm like, money, Johnny Football, everything like that. Where's he?
I think he started his own. No, he's not. I think he started his own flag football league. And
but the point is like he was celebrating his success before he had his success. I'm glad you won the Heisman, but that's just the beginning. That's just like, so yes, that's exactly what we're saying, and if you guys, if kids, if you don't know who I'm talking about, because it's a football player, look it up. But that's a good example of somebody that, took his foot off the gas.
All right, here we go. We're going to do this.
I wonder how much hate mail I'm going to get over that one.
I want to do this right here. Jimmy, you sent me your demo reel. We're not going to watch all the actions because there's just too many amazing ones from this season. So we can't put them all on here, but I did showcase a few that I thought that were really good. So first, I kind of want to walk through this one right here because this is a ball that comes floated in. It's a looping header. Now look at Jimmy's movement as he shuffles across, and it's that hand right across. I love it. That's that outside hand. I just want everyone to see this right here. Jimmy, why'd you include this other than it's just amazing?
I think it's just kind of one of those where it's like a ball like that looped ball. A lot of people will not necessarily give up on it, but it's so hard to pick up the flight, know where you are because you're tracking first the cross, and then it's just redirected in an awkward way. So you end up finding yourself in a little bit of two worlds. And then obviously I think it showcases my ability to get a cross goal in an awkward situation and obviously produce a save. But yeah, I love that save. It was against the Red Bulls MLS squad in the Open Cup. And that was like 5 minutes into the game. And that kind of set the tone for how I wanted to perform for the day.
Yeah. And I think what's great about this is I think you hit the nail on the head with a lot of people. One might dive too early, might not use that extra footwork to get there. And, you'll see somebody maybe take a step back and try to project themselves, and that they're not going to get there. You took those extra steps. You got across the goal. You covered the ground you had to in order to make a save. And then technically you used whatever hand you had to use to keep it out. You know how I feel about that, Mike? I never said, it's supposed
top
to
hand,
be
bottom hand, whatever.
Hand. I don't care. Keep the ball out of the net. Great footwork, and you get the ball out of the net. Like parents will be like, "Was he supposed to use your top hand?" I'm like, I don't care. The ball's not in the net.
You know what I like Jimmy, that you included this in your reel is because not every play's clean. The game is messy, and sometimes we have to improvise in the moment based on a situation. Yeah, a lot of the time. So I think being able to showcase the fact that you're being able to find a successful action in a difficult situation, I think is really important for somebody to see from a scouting perspective. Yeah,
it's a great save.
Oh, I love it.
And you didn't even, and it wasn't even almost even a corner.
No, did you keep it in play?
He did at first. I think eventually it might have bounced out, but yeah.
Location, right?
Yeah. Hey, Japan. Hey, Japan. Don't bury the ball back in the six.
Also, Jimmy, if you can find some Japanese lineage.
Maybe.
All right. So let's go on to this next one. This is not a college clip. It just happens to be played at IUPUI. So kind of walk us through what's going on here, Jimmy, first to start with.
Yeah, here we go. So
first
for me, go ahead.
First off, is he offsides? So go ahead.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
So in these situations, for me, I am typically a guy that's going to play a little bit deeper because I trust my shot stopping ability. That's my strength. I know I'm going to produce saves, and I trust my defenders. To be honest, I trust them to make plays. I trust them to recover. So here, seeing them get beat, I decide, okay, this isn't a ball that I'm going to win. Whether he was offsides or not, he had a great jump on it. And for me, there were a couple times in my career where maybe I just stood at the 18 and waited for this to develop. In this situation, and those situations I conceded because I ran out of real estate. In this situation, I drop off because one, it eliminates a floated ball over the top. There's no space. There's a lot less space in behind me. I've now bought my center back time to recover in case he can. Whether he does or not, that's up to him or up to the attacker. And now I haven't given the attacker an answer. The second we give him an easy answer or we give him the solution by making this decision, the pressure is on us. It's not on him because the decision's straightforward. Now, once I drop in, now he says, okay, do I have to take a touch? Do I have to dink him one time? He has to start to think. The more you have to think, the more you're going to take time to process, the more likely you are to give me a solution on your own. So once he finally recovers the ball, okay, he takes his touch. I'm waiting. Okay, center back's not going to get there. I'm at a deep enough point. I decide, okay, my line of confrontation is probably 2-3 yards inside the 18. Then I've got to decide to close. Can I get close enough where I can use the block or the spread? Maybe not, maybe. If I can't, can I hold my ground and be as big yet compact as possible? I think I took this one off the throat. Just because
whatever works.
Look at this. Look at this.
Just my belief was hold my shape as long as I can, cover as much space as I can, and be in a position where I'm not sacrificing the easy route. If he's going to beat me, make him beat me with a ball in the corner. Make him beat me with a worldie. I'm not going to give him the easy solution.
Yeah. One thing I love about this, and for everybody who's listening to the audio,
nothing at all to add.
See, he's a goalkeeper mind.
For the first time ever, I have nothing to add. I'm like, mic drop. I'm done.
I mean, that was what a breakdown. What a breakdown right there. Just for the audio, just for people who are listening.
Everything I would have said that I like, how to deal with it, dropping, let your defense recover, like making that forward, having to make a decision. You know how I feel about that. Staying compact, staying big, making them beat you, not giving them everything. Done. Boom. Bye.
God, I love it.
I love it. So guys, it's a flicked ball from like a little bit outside the circle over the top to the attacking player, and there's chase by the defender. Defender doesn't get there in time, so Jimmy has to approach in, cover, and off the throat. There we go.
But I think one of the best things about this is he gives himself some depth. He doesn't get caught in no man's land because all those people that are driving right now for Thanksgiving, you can listen. He doesn't get caught in no man's land. You don't stay at the penalty spot. You don't stay at the top of the 18 with no real estate, like you said. You give yourself depth. That depth allows your defender to. That attacker knows that a defender's bearing down on him. So he does not have that much time to make a decision. But by giving depth, by dropping, you give that a little more time to evolve and a little more pressure on him. And now he's flustered and he can't just, you're not giving him an easy answer, just like you said. So
I think if you hadn't dropped for depth right there, Jimmy, he would have attempted to try to chip you right there. That's what I think he would have tried to do.
Yeah,
he lift it right over you.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. So I think this is absolutely brilliant. And one thing, just the last thing I want to say before we get into it.
And the throat save is great.
The last thing I want to say before we get into this right here, to the next clip right here, Jimmy, that I love that you said is you came out and you're like, and you saw how much ground can you cover? Can you get into an optimal position for a spread or a block? Probably not. So can I hold my ground? Thank you for bringing that part up, because I think, again, like many young goalkeepers don't understand, just because you can spread and block doesn't mean that that is the opportunity to spread or block. You have to recognize how much real estate is still in front of you.
Right. And you know that, Mike, I always say that young goalkeepers are using it in the wrong time all the time. You can't do a spread and block from when the player's 5 yards, if not more, away from you. It's useless.
This is from Sulaiman Kone, and he goes, I like how he closes up on him when the defender couldn't catch him. That's intelligence, goalkeeping IQ. Good read, Jimmy.
Thank you.
So, Jimmy, I assume that you already have Sulaiman's Venmo, right, for that? So
yep. Yeah.
Okay,
I paid him yesterday. The second I knew,
Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go. Let's go to this clip. Guys, we'll start wrapping up because I know it's Thanksgiving. Everybody's probably got family stuff that they got to do. So we'll start wrapping this up here. Okay. So why don't you break down kind of what this play right here is going on here? Should we play it through first? Boom. Clip ball. Look at this header. Oh, Matt Turner right there.
Yeah. I mean, for this one too, same idea. I mean, we talk about crosses and everything, and this is where we're starting to see more crosses in that narrow gap. Not really in that wide space, not always on the corner of the 6 or anything, but in that half space where it can be whipped in for a shot, cross, floated service, driven service, anything. So at this point, again, because my back line is kind of set right around the 6, I don't feel the need to be too high. And again, my strength is shot stopping. My strength is my explosiveness and ability to react. So I'm going to play to my strength. I like to almost have my heels on the line. Jake and Mirza both were very big advocates for playing deep. As the ball travels, I realized, okay, not going to come out and claim. I'm going to drop back in. I'm going to sit deep, and I'm going to read the flight as much as possible. In this situation, with the ball being floated and high, I don't feel the need to get into a low set because the point of contact is going to be high. If he heads it into the ground, I can still have a higher or mid-height set, or I can attack into the floor. I can raise up to the bar. Whatever I have to do, I'll be able to adjust one way or the other, whether it be vertically, up or down. And then obviously once contact's made, being able to just go vertically is huge. The ability to find the flight and obviously the coordination to find my hand to the ball.
Man, that's next level goalkeeping, dude. I never even thought about that part. About in regards to the set, about staying higher in the set, because of based on the averages of when that ball is hit, where that ball is going to be going. Wow, man, my head's exploding. I'm not gonna lie.
I conceded a goal my first season against New Mexico on a back post service, and I was set too low, and I got beat high, and I didn't want to let it happen again. Mirza did a good job beating that into me. So,
wow.
I love, and for those that can't see the video right now, if you're just listening and stuff, I love how early you're getting into position here. We see a lot, you've dropped deep. You're here. You're already there. The ball hasn't even landed yet. The header hasn't even happened yet. And you're already in position. Your head is where the point of where the ball is going to be hit. And what I always try to say that, and it's hard to teach kids, don't follow the flight of the ball. If you're going like this at the flight of the ball and the ball's hit, you're already a split second behind. You've assessed the situation, you've dropped in, this is where the ball's going to land. I have it. I see, even if he missed it or dummied it, you're still on point. So I'm just saying, like, you're there early, your body position's good, you're nice and deep, and it allows you to get the explosiveness to tip the ball.
Now, I want to stress this for any young kids who are listening or watching or anything like that. We don't mean that he starts moving and anticipating and just going and guessing. Mm-hmm. He reads the triggers and cues, and based on that and the shape of the body and the set, he recognizes where that ball is going to go, and he gets a step on that. He's not running across the goal.
No.
I just want everyone to hear that.
But it's also micro movements. He doesn't have to, because you weren't out of position in the first place. And if you're not out of position when the cross comes, what is that? 2 steps for you and you're in position. You know, if you're out of position too far near a post or something, then you're scrambling and then you're having to take 3 steps, 4 steps to get across and get in position. But you're not. It's 2 micro steps and boom, you're in position. That's it.
Yeah.
Boom. See, same thing there.
Here's a similar play. Look at that. Look at the passion too. I love it. And look at holding on to the ball right there. Just Saskia, a lot of goalkeepers lately we've been having are kind of like, it's almost as if you've been training them, holding on to the ball, playing the balls in the good areas,
how to deal
not spreading or blocking,
Maybe they're just all listening to the podcast.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're just
maybe I'm really flying all over the world and training goalkeepers behind your back. And you just don't know it.
Or they could be listening to your
all at once.
They could be listening to the breakdowns that you did during the NWSL season. They could be doing that too. They could be doing that too. Well, Jimmy, we don't want to keep you too long. We'll definitely have you back though, man. I mean, you are a goalkeeper mind. I mean, you know, there are players we have on
mics today.
Dude, seriously. You know, it's so funny because we have players on we've had a few players on recently, young players on recently. And I'm like, man, you know, when you get into coaching and Saskia's like, hey, stop trying to strike. They're still trying to play. Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
Well, he was 18.
I know, that's right. That's right.
Like, Mike,
he's just a kid. It's just a child.
I'm like, let him have some fun, Mike. Like, not that coaching isn't fun, but I was like, he's 18.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Jimmy, before we let you go, we touched a little bit on camps and non-roster, invites to training camps and those sorts of things. Do you have any advice for players who go into those combines or go into a training camp? Because let's be honest with you, most of us, unless you're a 99 World Cup winner like a Saskia Weber, we go in as like a non-rostered invite, or we have to go to a combine to receive an invitation or that sort of thing.
I think the biggest thing is obviously make the most of the opportunity, but you really only have to turn one head. For a goalkeeper, it's not necessarily about making every save, or making the big save, but it's about being consistent, showing that you have a good foundation. If you can go in there, and even if you don't have to make a top corner save, but you're conceding 0 goals in the 4 games you play in the combine, someone's going to take note of that. Someone's going to look at that and be like, well, what did they do? Did they organize before that? Did they not even have to make any saves? Was that part of them? Was that their role? Were they cutting things out? Were they preventing? Were they defending space rather than defending the goal? And they didn't even have to defend the goal. I think there's a lot of nuances and there's a lot of strengths and weaknesses that can be displayed. You do not need to be the hero. Sometimes being the hero is making somebody else the hero by giving them the answers and you protecting them. Yes, it's great to be the head turner. Matt Turner's tags are all head turner. He turns heads, yes, but he also does all the little things really, really well. If you can show that you are consistent, you're confident, you're able to play out of the back and fill all the needs of a team, someone's going to look at you, and you just need one chance. You need one person to say yes. You need one person to offer you a contract. Then you do your work from there. Then you work towards your second one, then your third, then your fourth. And hopefully they keep getting bigger in money, keep getting longer, bigger guarantees, and you keep on plugging along. But there's never a point where you can say, yeah, I'm satisfied.
Yeah. Saskia, anything you want to add to that?
No, I just, don't assume what coaches are looking for. Do the little things. And like when I go and I look, at ID camps and at combines or whatever, it's not about that person that's pulling that big save out of the upper 90. It's what about the person? Like if you're not having to work too hard, then maybe you're doing something amazing organizational wise. And maybe you are defending the space. Maybe you are doing things like there's a lot of factors that go in. It's not just the big save at all. At all.
Yeah. I think that's a really great way to wrap this up right there, because I think that number one thing when it comes to goalkeepers, young goalkeepers, is that, and you're hearing it from 2 seasoned pros right here, and a guy with a microphone, who plays 7-a-side on Sundays, is that don't try to showcase the big save. Do all the little things. The more the more the easier you can make things look, the more likely you are to get an opportunity by the people that matter. That is. Yeah.
Like, I'll look at you making a big save and say, why did you have to make that save?
Mm-hmm.
Were you out of position? Did you not push your defenders up? Did you not tell them to pressure the ball? Like, why did you have to make that save? That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm. If it's a great save, we'll give you credit.
Right? Exactly. I'm not a total bitch. I'm like, it's a great save. It's a great save. I'm just saying.
Every goalkeeper out there.
We're picky.
Like, God, I sound like a horrible human being sometimes.
Oh my gosh!
All right,
I can't wait till you get back on the air next year with watching all the teams. Well, Jimmy, this has been awesome, man. Everybody out there, we just want to say a happy Thanksgiving to everybody over there who listens to Inside the 18 and everybody in the Union community, guys. If you've not joined the Union yet, check it out. It's a free soccer community on all platforms. That is a smart link. It's fully interactive engagement forums. You can DM, you can post stuff. You can watch exclusive videos. Basically everything you can do on all the social medias, but it's completely geared towards us and our Union. Jimmy, if anybody wants to reach out to you directly on the Union, what is your handle on the Union?
That's a good question. I think it's J Slayton 725.
Awesome.
It's J Slayton 7 something, 73 or 725. I should probably know that, but
it's okay.
I love talking to people, so I'm always happy to answer anything.
Oh man, well, we can keep it easier with Saskia Weber. It's Ask Saskia Weber on the Union. It's at Michael Madgett on the Union, or at Goalkeeper Podcast on the Union. If you want to reach out to us on email, it's contact@inside18media.com. If you have a guest suggestion or a topic suggestion, a lot of cool stuff planned on the Union, guys. We're excited to have people like yourself, Jimmy. We can't wait for you to start posting and start connecting with people. I know you said you're involved in some mentorship stuff, so I think there's definitely some people out there who could use your mentorship. So we're excited. Yes. We're excited that you've come on board. Guys, I guess all I can say is happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
That's all
everybody.
The time on the Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, guys.